Welcome to MacGyver's Workshop, where you never know what we're going to be working on next. If you're not too careful, you just might learn something.
Hi there, and welcome to MacGyver's Workshop, where you never know what we're going to be working on next, and if you're not too careful, you just might learn something. Again, been a bit since I last posted a video. My day job's been keeping me really busy, so I do enjoy it when I get to come out here and work in the shop and actually make some videos to put up on the channel. So what we've got here that we're working on currently is a 1994 Chevrolet Corvette. We've actually done some work on this before. It's a friend of mine at work, and we rebuilt the headlight door motors. It's been about a year or so back. The problem he's having right now is a couple problems actually. One is a slight oil leak, which is coming from the front and rear of the intake manifold on what is referred to as the China walls, and I'll show you a little more about that once we get down into it. Then also he's got a leaking water pump, so we're going to change out the water pump and the thermostat, and of course here is our intake set for when we remove the intake. And while we're at it, we'll go ahead and do the valve cover gaskets while we're in there. Technically, I don't think you have to take the valve covers off to pull the intake on this motor. It's the LT1 with the OptiSpark and all that. So, and of course, while we're in there, pop a set of plugs in. He's already changed the wires out, so they're practically brand new. And he's got another issue with his instrument cluster, where some pixels go out in the digital display. So he's got another dash cluster for me to put in. So this is going to be a multi-part video. So we'll get started and get cracking. Now the first thing we're going to want to do before we do anything is disconnect our battery. These things do have a propensity for frying the computers if you're not careful. Now I've already disconnected this one here, so we're good with that. Now the next step is we're gonna pick the car up and drain the coolant system. You would need to do this either for the intake manifold, because obviously you've got the water jackets in the ports on the head, and we're also going to be doing a water pump. So we are going to completely drain the coolant system, and then we'll set the car back down and start doing some work from the top. Now, my friend has actually put a aftermarket aluminum radiator in here, but the drain is still in the same exact place as it would be on a stock factory radiator. Let's get something to pop that loose with. Here we go. There we are. Now we'll let that drain for a bit, and we'll be right back. Okay, so what we'll do here, we're gonna first need to take our air intake tube off, which is also going to have a mass airflow sensor. So first thing we really want to do is we want to disconnect all of our electrical connections. This is an intake air temperature sensor. And then this is your throttle position sensor. And you want to be careful just in case, you know, any of these are, plastic might be a little brittle and they're weather pack connectors, you know, so they'll have this little rubber seal on them. So you want to make sure that, yeah, that might get stuck in there, and if you pull too hard on it, it might break the connector on you. You don't want that. And we'll take our mass airflow sensor here, disconnect it. Sometimes you just jiggle it a little bit. That'll persuade it just enough to come on out of there. Air filter and all out of here. I'm just going to take it all out in one piece here. Loosen this clamp up right here. I guess I didn't need to take those wing nuts off of there, or speed nuts, but that's okay. We're going to take it all apart and make sure that air filter is good and clean anyway. That just opens up a whole lot of space right here, especially when we get to the point of working on the water pump. And I'm going to make my life a little bit easier by when I take the intake off, then that'll give me a little bit, maybe more room to work down in here. So now the next thing we're going to want to do is disconnect our fuel lines here. And you want to, of course, make sure car's been off for a little bit so it'll bleed down its fuel pressure. And then just take you one of these little guys right here to pop these things loose. It never hurts to have a little bit of extra security here. So what I'll do, I'll lay me a cloth over here, and once we there we go. If the engine's been off for a while, any residual pressure will bleed off, so, but you don't ever really want to assume anything either, so. Now what we'll do is I'll zip tie these guys back out of the way. I may just go ahead and make life a little bit easier and just hold them down there like that. Put a rag there to catch any dribbles, and then pop our pretty plates off. Now this other one here is going to be a little bit interesting because you have the cruise control cable coming over here, and it's kind of popped on there, so we're going to have to do something with that. should be able to do, let's see. There we go. And we can just put that back over there out of the way. Not even have to mess with it. Looks like that's kind of leaky there. Oh yeah, look at that. Oh yeah. We're gonna have to replace that now, aren't we? This is all perished. Not to mention we're gonna have a lot of cleaning to do. Now what we'll want to do is we're going to want to very gently disconnect our injector electrical cables here, and we'll do that by pushing in on this little metal bail here, and then ever so gently working the connector up off of the injector. Now you'll see the little rubber weather pack thing is still, it's stuck to the injector, so we're going to make sure we put that back on here so it doesn't get lost, because that is very important in protecting this electrical connection in here. And then as we're on our way down here, we've got us a little vacuum line. We'll pop this puppy off of here. We'll take this off over here. And that's not exactly a 10, is it? Yeah, this is that point in General Motors life where you'll find standard and metric fasteners. I'd have thought this would have been a 10, but it's not. It's actually a 3/8. This off of here. I got all of our electricals disconnected. There's one more vacuum line here. We'll get that. And disconnected this. This is going to have to be replaced. You can see it's perished and splitting. And then the this one here that went to the breather tube, it did the same thing. That done went and split open on us. So we're going to replace that. Now what we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and pull the throttle body off and get it out of the way. Now, I have a tool for these things. Never been a big fan of these spring clamps, but can't argue with the fact that, you know, they've been using them for years and they haven't given folks much trouble. So I guess you can't argue with the facts. But we're gonna see if we can't get this joker here. Now you could just take this off and lay it over there, but since I'm going to be doing the water pump, I'm going to just want it completely out of my way. So we'll go ahead and remove it. Plus, I'm figuring that throttle body can probably use a good cleaning. So we're going to just go ahead and pull it on off of here. These hoses, man, they're gonna be on there. Be ready for a fight. There we go. And we'll tuck this back out of the way. And me, I'm giving blood for my job here. How about that, huh? Now that one has a teeny tiny hose clamp on it. Somebody upgraded that one. This thing don't stop bleeding. I'm gonna have to make me a Band-Aid. Y'all don't know what a Band-Aid is, I'll show you. Now let me see. Let me find all the stuff to make a Band-Aid with. Alright. So, to make a Band-Aid, you can tear off a little bit of your paper towel type shop rags. And fold it up nice. Make you a little mini gauze patch there, if you will. And then you wrap you some electrical tape around it. Get a little bit on your skin there, but don't pull the electrical tape too tight because it'll cut the circulation off to your finger. You don't want that. And voila, one Band-Aid. And then you can tear off any excess that's in your way. And there you have it, one Band-Aid. I know all y'all in the medical profession will be like having a conniption because of all the germs and all that kind of stuff. And yes, you're absolutely right. And the fates have blessed me, and I have been very fortunate. I have never gotten an infection. Now, of course, when I go in the house tonight, I'll douse it with peroxide and put some antibacterial ointment on it. But for now, this will allow us to proceed. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this throttle body off of here. Put it over on the parts cart. And once we get everything torn down, we will go into cleaning mode. Go. Ooh, look at that throttle body. That's nasty. Ew. See that? Shine some light on the situation here. That is disgusting. But, that's normal for, the amount of miles on here. You're going to get carbon buildup from your EGR and your PCV, all that stuff. Because all that, your EGR recirculates exhaust gases back through. And some of it will make its way up here. And you got about a 1/16 of an inch layer of carbon on there. See, you won't see that much from the front. See, the front don't look so bad, does it? But, yeah. But it should idle a good bit nicer once we clean this up. Oh. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is I'm going to need to undo some bracketry over here on the back side of the alternator, and I won't necessarily have to remove the entire alternator, but I may disconnect the electrics from it. We'll see. But this bracket's got to go because it comes over here and mounts to the one of the intake bolts. And let's see, what else? We got one more electrical wire here on our map sensor. And it looks like somebody done got to that connector already and got it, little tab messed up on it. But that's not the end of the world. We can deal with that. Alrighty. So now at this point, it's a matter of getting that bracket off of there and then starting to pull our intake bolts. And in a lot of cases, you know, these bolts are doing double duty. You know, you got a nut holding down the bracket, and then once you take that nut off and take the bracket off, then you got the actual intake bolt underneath. And this one, as far as this pipe goes, I was excited that I was able to get it loose, but it really doesn't matter because it's held on with a bracket that goes way back down in here and behind the head. So I ended up having to do the trick of undoing it and bending it back out of the way anyhow. So, all right. So I'll need a few minutes and we're gonna do all that, and hopefully I'll be able to, once I get all those bolts out and brackets out, I'll be able to pull the intake off. All right, so now we've got our intake manifold off of here. We've got, you can get a good look and see at what I was referring to as the China walls. And, you know, I guess the reason they're called China walls is because they kind of resemble the Great Wall of China. Now, these China walls are sealed with RTV, like a silicone-based sealant, and over time it perishes and will start leaking, especially if there's a buildup of crankcase pressure in there. So, and you can see where, you know, there's oil residue on the back side of the motor and up front here on the timing cover. So what we're going to do is we're going to have to clean all this off, but first we're going to lay a towel down in here because we don't want anything to get down into the motor, and we'll plug off the ports, the cylinder ports, intake ports, with some shop rags. As like I said, we don't want anything getting down into the engine. And you know, this motor is fairly clean, not as clean as I would expect, especially if it's been run on Mobil 1 all its life. I'm guessing not, as there is some carbon and spooge buildup in here. But we definitely want to prevent any debris that we're going to be cleaning off of here from falling down in there, so we'll lay a towel or something down in there. And this is the LT1 motor has roller rockers or roller lifters in it, so that's why this plate is here, because it holds down the little dog bones that hold these lifters in the proper orientation, because they have a little wheel on the bottom of them, and if these lifters were to rotate, then some bad things would be coming your way, believe me. So they have a little dog bone in there that mates up with some flats on each side of the lifter, and then this plate bolts in and holds all that down and keeps those lifters lined up the way they need to be. So that's it for I think this is a good break point for this part of the video series. One last thing I will say, when you have your intake off, and you know, make sure you check these two sensors right here. These are oil pressure sensors, and they get engine oil under pressure when the engine's running. So now this car just had, would dribble a little bit of oil on the pavement when you park it. Now, if you had a leak that was noticeable when the engine's running, then you would look at these two sensors here, because they do and they will often fail and leak. These two are good, so we're okay there. But that would be your first place to look. You can tell too here, this this RTV that they put on here is perished, and you can see the spooge behind here and up front here on the timing cover, getting kind of nasty looking there. But we're going to clean all that up, so we'll stop here for now, and we'll see you next time. So stay tuned, and thanks for watching.